All right, so this is session 3 of 3. We are playing Tales from the Loop, which is role-playing in the 1980s that never was. It is a game from Free League Publishing in Sweden, based on the artwork of, I'm not even trying to say it, but this person's artwork, who's done a number of art books. Interestingly, the tone and approach of the actual art that is from that person's Tales from the Loop series are kind of different from what we actually get in the RPG. So that's, I know Rach Shelke has been talking a little bit about that on the Gauntlet blog. What's the Gauntlet blog? Hey, well, she's going to be writing a thing for that. Anyway, so this is part of the Gauntlet RPG sort of online hangouts network. You can find out more about that at gauntlet-rpg.com. That's our site there. We do lots and lots of online games. We have a Patreon that gets you access to Codex, which is a monthly zine that we do. High-level patrons get sort of first grab at the signups for the 100+ online games that we do. It's also a pretty good online community with safety tools and inclusivity policies and so on. And this is part of my series of RPGs that you can find online. I do monthly games, and I record most of them. So if you check out the channel, if you're watching this, if you look at the greater channel, you will find lots of different games there to watch. So we're going to take up, following up from last time. I'm going to frame us into the scene in just a moment. But I know that for JP, that you were thinking about maybe shifting some of your stuff now, having had a chance to play. You had talked about that, about your sort of goals and beliefs and pride and so on. Did you want to look at that again?
I actually just changed it.
Okay, so what did you change it to?
Yeah, so we established in the first episode, or I guess it would have been the second episode for you guys, that JP camps a lot in the woods, mm-hmm. And I wanted there was some overlap with my pride and my drive. They seem to be about the same thing, and I wanted to distinguish them. So I switched my pride to I got lost in the woods and kept my cool for one day. And the idea is at some point, maybe I was on a hike or whatever, and I was lost, and maybe there was some kind of search or something like that. And when they found me, I was basically like, I kept my cool. I did all the things you were supposed to do. I stayed in place, and I wasn't like, an emotional wreck or whatever. And that's like my pride.
All right, I like that. So that seems to work for me. So what I want to do is, we're actually going to kind of cut forward. I want to do home scenes with people. And then some of you have conditions. And the way that you could do clear conditions is you do a brief scene interacting with your anchor. And so I'd like to also do that. And I think, Sherry, you're the only person who doesn't have a condition marked.
It's true. I rolled incredibly luckily.
Yes, so we will hit you with something else during that go around, and your luck points will have reset, so you have those back right now.
Sorry to interrupt. Could you just, because I'm a little bit hazy, it's been a while. Can you do a little super fast recap of what happened last session, just so we're on the same page?
Absolutely. So previously on Tales from the Loop Wayward, the group had found a weird giant toad, essentially a bullfrog, that had been modified and weaponized. And last session, we had JP come back to the group after the family essentially was, I believe, had been camping, and met up and heard this story about there being these weird weaponized bullfrogs. And the group had found that not only did they have sort of metal parts in them, but they had kind of an acid spray. So the group decided to investigate this further, and they did that through library science. They did that through going and annoying people at the nature center. They did that by talking with various folks and essentially getting an idea of where these frogs might be and putting some pieces together and figuring out that these frogs might actually be causing some damage, might have been causing some of the crashes and wrecks up there in the area that I've kind of got marked on the Roll20 map up there on the 703. And so that is the basics of sort of the information, and the group decided to gear up, some more MacGyvery than others, and head out essentially into the marshlands. And they traveled out into there, and at one point they had our venerable scout JJ move forward after hearing some things, and found a ziggurat being built by not the bullfrogs that you'd seen, but like little American toad, like little toads, and they were communicating with each other with very basic words that were kind of exchanged, and they were building this big sort of clay structure with mud and reeds and so on. And also noticed that they seemed to have like maybe a kind of a chip on them. That was sort of picked up that's how they had been modified. As they were watching, I believe that JP was sort of scouting around and ran into a couple of these larger bullfrogs, which seemed to be like observing the toads, and maybe in a more menacing way. And then everything went very badly after that, with the attempt to capture and a little bit of battle. And the little toads got scared, and there was some running and some aluminum foil and some mud.
That's not aluminum foil. 100 feet of aluminum foil.
Yeah, like a lot of aluminum foil. And what we ended up with was the group having captured alive one of these larger bullfrogs, wrapped in a sheet of aluminum foil, enclosed and trapped in that, and another one of the bullfrogs taken out by crowbar and baseball bat and so on, and kind of splattered about. And everyone is covered with mud, and essentially had to head back home. And for the purposes of this, I'm going to assume that the bullfrog has been safely ensconced, hidden away in the clubhouse or wherever. So we will kind of leave it off the table until the group comes back together, I think. So does that seem like a good, did I miss anything vital in that?
Seems to me like you got it.
Yeah. The other thing, you talked with the police officer. I believe that was Butch talked to the police officer, and she got a look and then headed off after you discussed that with her. Sherry will recognize that particular gesture as the adults figuring something out and going and getting themselves into danger. So that is the classic for that. Anyway, so what I'd like to do is come back and take up and do a home scene, and then we'll do that once around, and then we'll do once around for anchor scenes. And this scene can be either later that same day, or it can be the next day before you get together, however you wish to do that. So let's start with JP.
Yeah.
Do you have an idea of what you'd want to do, or do you want me to throw something to you?
Well, I have this idea that's loosely based on my personal experience. I have Emmanuel Duchamp. He's a Haitian. He's my Haitian math teacher who has a PhD in mathematics. And I think the deal is that I sometimes skip his classes, and he's somewhat sympathetic to this because he did this when he was a kid. And I think the reason I can get away with this is because I actually do well in math class. And
Okay.
so I think I meet him before or after class, and he like gives me maybe a lecture, but also a lecture. And he fills me in on what I missed very briefly and maybe a higher level way that he would normally address the class.
So do you think that this is maybe because you're in summer school?
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot we're in summer. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. I'm
Okay.
probably in summer school. I probably missed too many days of some other classes, and I'm having to make them up. And I'm probably like ahead in math or something. And so I probably want to graduate at the same time. So I'm getting ahead in math, but I'm like falling behind in other subjects.
Okay. So I imagine that he meets up with you to talk. Where would you meet? At his house or at the school beforehand? What do you imagine there? You meet.
I think I want to. I think I want to retcon this a little bit. I don't want to
Okay.
say I'm in summer school, but I do want to say that I'm trying to get ahead in mathematics.
Okay, so maybe he's tutoring you?
Yeah, I think um, I think we have this like kind of offbeat, off kilter sort of friendship where we're not really supposed to see each other, and it's kind of inappropriate. But yeah, like we arrange to bump into each other, or like we know where we're gonna be at some place.
Okay.
And yeah, and like I said, he'll give me a lecture, and he'll give me a lecture.
Okay. Like, do you mention the library or do you imagine a diner or
I imagine Emmanuel Duchamp is a prodigious consumer of the black essence known as coffee, and I imagine him being a dipper of donuts, a slow and methodical dipper of donuts, in fact. And I imagine him being very often caught in reverie, mathematical reverie, with a donut soaking to the point of dissolution in his coffee. And that's probably where I find him on my way to, I don't know, get a cookie or something with my weekly allowance.
and so this is one of these local regional places, Donut Delight, spelled Delite. And it's actually got like a little diner counter. It's got little booths at it. And of course, he stands out a little bit here in a Midwestern town, very well dressed. And he is working at donut, and he will see you. And this is the next day, I assume. So he's like, well,
I'll keep in mind, I'm like pretty burned up, I think, from this acid spittle.
Yeah. What do you imagine the visible signs of that are?
I think probably like we said the main part was on my arm, but I imagine I had like some of it got on my arms as well. So I just like have these like red kind of like haven't yet scabbed over kind of like pussy sort of splotches.
And he says, oh, did you get poison ivy when you were out camping?
And I kind of smirk at him, and I say, "I went on an adventure. You wouldn't even believe me if I told you."
Fair enough. Are you going to tell me, or are you just going to be mysterious?
Yeah. So I think I'll tell him. I'll be like, "So I jumped this giant bullfrog and I wrapped it in tinfoil, but before I could, it flew in the air and spit acid all over me."
Interesting. He looks very skeptical. So not poison ivy then.
I'd be like, only an idiot would think this is poison ivy.
Well, it looks a lot like poison ivy, and if we're counting the likelihood of poison ivy versus frog spit acid, then I think on the balance it leans towards my side of the equation.
I'm like, yeah, I'm like, what did I say to that? Yeah, I think I'd just be like, whatever. And then I'd be like, I'd like sit in a booth with him or whatever, and I would just like stare down at my cookie, and I would just kind of like, I don't know, I feel a little bit rejected at this moment, so maybe I'm a little bit sullen, and I break a piece off and I just like munch it in front of him in silence.
And he will say, "So, what? How big a bullfrog are we talking?"
Biggest in the universe, obviously. Like, I exaggerate, of course, again, like this big.
So, well, you'd say more like a yard, right?
Oh, I think it's hard.
Like a meter long?
Yeah, that sounds. No, I know what a yard is, but I wanted to work that in actually because he's
Okay.
Asian and I'm Canadian.
Oh.
And yeah, so he'd probably be like something like I think he would say a meter, and I would be like, "What's a meter?" And then he'd be like, "Oh, like a yard or something like that."
You know, there's a thing called the square cube law about the size of animals and essentially the requirements, and it begins to kind of sketch out this sort of sci-fi story premise about how you know that certain animals couldn't be too large or too small because of the mass to weight ratios, and he kind of sketches that out on the table for you and shows you some of those things.
Yeah, and I think like I follow along, and maybe the thing that he does is he like, intentionally makes some mistakes here to see if I'll catch them. And I catch them like, oh no, obviously this is like a division, or this is supposed to be multiplication or something like that. Like he's probably using relevant things that we learned in material in class. And like when he's all done, I'll just be like, I already knew that. I don't know, you wasted your time.
Oh no, sorry. Thank you for humoring me with that. I apologize. I just love math.
I think I'll say to him like, I heard a rumor that you're not going to be a teacher next year in school. Is that true, Mr. Duchamp, Mr. D?
There's some talk. The Crown Industrial is hiring some people for the loop, and I've had some discussions with them about that.
Because I swear to God, Mr. D, if you're not my math teacher, I'm going to throw like 3 eggs at the principal's office for sure.
I'm going to pretend I didn't hear that because I don't want to be called in on that. Look, you'll be fine if you apply yourself at all, and you know that.
That's what my mom says. I just don't know. I just don't like those other people as much as I like you, you know?
Well, I appreciate that, but
I mean, not like I like you. That's weird. You know what I mean, right?
Yeah, I understand. I appreciate that you're more patient with me than you are with the other teachers.
Yeah, you're probably the least of a loser out of all of them.
Well, I will take that as a modest compliment coming from you.
How's the donut today? It's kind of wet. I don't know how you eat them like that.
I like that. I like the texture. It's almost like a donut coffee soup at that point.
Yeah, and then I think I just like down the rest of my cookie, like I smash it into my mouth, and my mouth is like, I imagine these cookies like those really big cookies. That's why I spend it, because it's like $2, but it's like the size of my face.
All right.
My mouth is like overfull, like it's overflowing, like I literally can't even champ down because it's so much food in my mouth. And then with my mouth full, I'm just like, nice talking to you, Mr. D, and I just like run away.
So let me ask you this: he is your anchor, I think that then this is the scene. You've had interaction with your anchor. You can clear your condition then.
And I think,
seem reasonable.
Yeah, and I think the reason that clears my condition is because Mr. D, like, he's just patient with me, and he lets me be who I am, and he kind of understands that everything I throw at him is at my front. And, you know, he's like one of the few adults who gets me. And I think that's really relieving for Ivan or for JP. Yeah.
That sounds perfect. Let me cut over to JJ. Do you want to do your anchor scene or do you want to do a home scene? What would you like?
I think it'd be interesting to see an anchor scene.
Okay. And who is your anchor?
He's a local author, Graham Grayson. He was a sort of like sci-fi fantasy rising star author who burned out after a couple of books and sort of moved here to be in obscurity in the small town.
So do you imagine that like he lives down the street or he lives a couple blocks away?
I think he lives a couple blocks away.
Okay.
And it's sort of like it's an older neighborhood where the houses are like farther spaced out and there's a lot bigger trees and sort of shadowy undergrowth and stuff.
You have the sense that maybe this was maybe he had some family here and this was in this nice house was in the family and he's got it. And I imagine that probably the first week that he arrived and moved in, there were just boxes and boxes of books that had to be unloaded. And so when you go in and he's at the door kind of lets you in, and there are stacks of books everywhere, big libraries, you know, all kinds of books and papers and things. And of course, he's probably already started to have a little bit of a drink for the day.
And I like the idea that that's maybe like how we first met. Is I was just out riding around or exploring when he was moving in and just saw all these boxes being carried in labeled books. And so I think he like came out to the moving van to find me having opened a couple of them and was just looking through them.
I like the idea of him, like, and tell me if you think this is interesting, of him being kind of tipsy when he met you or something like that.
I get the feeling he's kind of tipsy most of the time. It's either that or asleep.
JJ, morning with the come in.
Oh, it's 11, so yeah, I guess it's technically morning.
So what are you up to today? Are you out exploring the life of high youth and excitement?
Well, yeah, there's excitement. I've been needing to do some research, and I looked at the library, and all they have about frogs are these little frogs, and none of them are giant, and none of them talk, and none of them fly, and none of them have microchips. And I just need to find something about talking flying frogs that have microchips on their back that build pyramids to their walking demigods, hopping demigods.
Oh, I like where this is going. Come in. And he says, so tell me this story. Where does it start?
Well, I mean, it started in Butch's backyard. You know, we were hanging out. We were at the clubhouse, like planning our next set of adventures. And there was a giant crash, and there was a frog, and then Tiny was running around, and then Butch was fighting it, and then Lisa did something or whatever. It wasn't very important. She sort of hung back, and then I was fighting it with Butch, and we like wrestled it to the ground. And Butch was really strong. He was like, beat it up, and then we put it in a chest, but then Lisa was like, oh, we have to open the chest to look at it. So then we opened the chest and it flew away, and it got away, and it was all Lisa's fault. But then we did some very clever research and some tinkering, and we built some stuff, and Tiny helped out, and we went out into the swamp and we looked for frogs, and we found the frogs, and I explained to you about the ziggurat that they were building with their alien frog mind power.
So a revelation that opens up the story further.
Yeah. I mean, if
I like
it was yesterday, but it's okay. Yeah. So then there were these psychic frogs, and then JJ was
psychic. Did you say psychic?
Well, I mean, it may have been like cybernetic implants. I'm not quite sure. That's why I need to do some research.
You need to figure out exactly what it is. There's a difference between the cybernetic and the psychic, and if people will catch you on that.
Okay. Well, at the moment, we'll go with the psychotronic. How about that?
Oh, yes. Hold on. Let me write that down. Psychotronic. Go on, go on, go on.
Yeah. So JJ was like, I'm gonna sneak around and distract him, and he did, and he caught one, and he wrapped it up in all this like metal and stuff. But then JJ came in, and because I was like being attacked by the other one, or Butch, he came in and he had his bat, and he was like super heroic, and he hit it so far, it was amazing. And Lisa was around.
Good. An action sequence, excellent. That's good. It's a good place to have that, the kind of midpoint there.
Yeah, but now we have it bundled up, and the last time that we let it out, it just ran away and started recruiting more followers out in the woods. So we don't want to let that happen again. We need to study it scientifically. And we have a chemistry set, and we have a lot of aluminum foil, and we have some like nails and screws and stuff.
Good. So kind of a homemade sort of exploration to discover some secret that will lead you to what?
Oh, and they spit acid.
Oh, that seems maybe a little over egging the pudding there, but
well, it's like bright orange and toxic.
Maybe dial that back a little. Just psychotronic with the frogs. They talk
like really textural sort of visual scene. I'm adding some. Well, this is real.
Yes, no, absolutely. You certainly painted quite the picture there.
And I think this whole time, like, Tiny has been running around in circles and sort of hopping up and barking every now and then when I get really excited and, adding to the general storytelling atmosphere. He says, well, I mean, like, we have to figure out where they're coming from, right? Is this an alien invasion that's going to take over the whole town? Or is this, like, science gone mad sort of thing?
Oh. Well, if it's science gone mad, that's a little more grounded and it makes sense in the context.
Ooh, or like maybe Godzilla, like maybe there's nuclear waste leaking somewhere and there's mutants that are rising up. But then how did they get
be a little too much? I think you're always better to stay with the more intimate. I like that that the story starts with you and your friends. There's some very good young sci-fi aimed at that sort of thing.
Yeah, but it's it's
protagonist John Christopher's work.
Not like a story.
Or the Great Lemonade Experiment. That whole series of books is a good. Tinkle, tinkle, tinkle.
Were there any about frogs?
That's more of a sort of a pulp horror novel thing with the frogs.
And I'll have gone to grab a bottle off the side table there, and I pour a little more in his coffee. You sure you don't remember any about frogs or like some sort of cyber mutant amphibian, lower animal mind control?
And he will direct you to essentially probably some cheap horror novels. With those kind of 1980s horror novel covers that are like textured, and you see the frogs,
and they have like the cutout where the picture looks normal, but then you open it to the inside picture page. Oh, it's all horrible and skeletons.
Exactly. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Those crappy American paperbacks from the 80s there. And you could have any of those. They're not that great, but they might give you some ideas about what not to do.
Thank you, Mr. Grayson. This will be great. This is finally some solid research that I got my hands on.
Absolutely. Well, I hope that you have get this worked out. I'm looking forward to hearing the rest.
Well, if I live through it, I'll come and tell you.
Yes, charming.
Come on, Tiny.
So does that seem like your anchor scene there?
Yeah.
Okay. So you will clear your condition.
I had my angry condition, so I think I'm sort of convincing myself that like he was just joking when he said that story stuff. Like he believes me. Someone believes me, right?
Perfect. And then Butch, do you want to do your anchor scene or do you want to do your home scene?
I don't know. Do we have time for both or not?
Well, I'm gonna go around once for each of these. So I think it's worth doing this before we kind of roll into the mystery to get a little more of that home stuff.
Yeah. Let's go. Yeah, let's go to meet Coach Bill
Okay.
And talk about our team.
And essentially, where do you think you stop by his house, or do you think it's at practice that you talk to him the next day?
I think maybe, yeah. Since Butch is scared, maybe he would go and visit him at his home, like before he goes to practice. So maybe like 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. morning, because.
And he's out mowing the lawn there. Got one of the nice big riding mowers that he rides around a big lawn. Seems to be a point of pride for him. And when he sees you come biking up, he will turn the mower off and kind of ride it over to where you're at. Hey there. How's it going, man?
Hey, Coach. Yeah, it's going okay. I think so. I was having some thoughts, about the sport, the team, and the pitching, and I was wondering, because last season me and Chad, we don't really get along. We are like, each of us is trying to be the primary pitcher, but he's older, so he's stronger, so he's usually in the position. But I kind of get the feeling that it doesn't have like a good team spirit in the team. So I was wondering, is there anything I can do to it's a team sport after all.
He says, now, for me, I think a sense of healthy competition is good. I think it's really important. I mean, it's good that you have a rival, someone kind of pushing on you there. I think that's important. You're gonna learn a lot from him. He's gonna push you. You're gonna push him. It's good. And Chad's older. He's not gonna be with us, for more than another year. And when he moves on, you're going to move up into that position, and you've got a bunch of years ahead of you then, being the person who leads the team. I think you have to show that you can be the bigger man, that you can be the team leader to bring this together.
So should I I don't know, when we argue, should I take the argument and just show that I understand his lesson, and then just don't fight back? Because I'm not really fancy his technique of throwing the ball super fast. I think we should give it this extra twist, so that the guy with the bat will just miss it at the last moment. So it's like a conflict of techniques. So should take it in what he's advocating for, and just so that the guys see that we are not really so openly fighting.
I appreciate that. I mean he is a harder thrower than you. He's got a better fastball that he can throw, and it comes in, whereas you know how to do that curveball, how to throw it to get that curve on it. You're very different pitchers. You really are. And I need you both up there on the mound and getting along. If he gets in your face, you just stand up. Don't have to push back, but you just got to stand up. You got to show him who you are, that you're a man, and that you know what's what.
Thanks, Coach. I think I'm kind of getting it. I was just wondering, do you think we're gonna have some spots open up in the next season?
Yeah, certainly. School starts in a couple weeks, and we're gonna have some tryouts. You know some people?
Yeah, I might have one or two I like to bring to go through the training through the training element.
Okay.
And see if they are
anybody I know?
Team. I don't want to drop names too quick. I'd rather talk with them first and then see how it goes.
All right. Good man. All right. I'll talk to you later. I got to finish up this because I got to go work on the roses out back.
Thank you, Coach.
And you may clear your condition there.
Cool.
Lisa, we're going to give you a couple of family scenes. Where do we want to start with you?
Let's see here. Well, I figure it makes sense that after what happened yesterday, she probably had to come home and put her precious sweatshirt into the garage washing machine, where essentially all the dirty, oily work suits and stuff go. And so she's probably out there doing laundry so she can get her stuff out without anyone noticing. I don't know, just like right on the periphery of the garage and everything. So.
And your probably see your dad and one of your older brothers kind of having a little bit of an argument there.
I'll fold a little bit closer to the thing so I can hear what they're arguing about.
And you hear your dad say, well, if you're going to go somewhere else, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not going to pay for a red cent of it. Just not. You want to do it, it's on you. You know, you want to stay around here, I'll pitch in. But if you want to go somewhere else, if you want to go out of state, leave your family behind, make me short another hand in the garage, then no, I'm not gonna pay anything. I'll give you a fair salary while you're here, but that's it. And he kind of stomps away from your brother, who looks a little upset.
And is that talking about college, or is he talking about a?
Sounds like college. He's old enough. Remember, your brothers are a lot of them are quite older than you.
But I just didn't know if he was interested in college.
Yeah, that's maybe the first time you've heard about that.
Okay. So I'm standing there with some laundry. I'll kind of step in and I'll go, Dallas, where do you want to go?
I want to go to Bloomington, to Indiana University. Bloomington, big college town. And Sarah just got in, and, you know, things are going really well on that. And, you know, I don't want to do the long distance thing. And, you know, it's a real opportunity to go. I missed that.
I said, what do you want to study?
I don't know, like maybe engineering. Like that's pretty good. You know, I did really good in shop.
And she sort of stops and goes, so do they have an engineering school at Bloomington?
Oh, it's a big school. They've got to have engineering, right? They've got to have engineers there.
And so kind of stop and go, well, Bruce is going to go for engineering. He never mentioned Bloomington.
Well, you know, I'll figure it out. You know, I'll figure out what I'm going to do. I think Sarah might be the one.
But college is just 4 years.
It's 4 years. That's a lifetime.
And she goes, well, yeah.
Listen, you don't understand how this is. Someday you're gonna meet somebody and then you're gonna get it. You just don't understand. You're too young.
She sort of looks at him and she's like, well, I don't even like Sarah that much. And she turns around.
Okay, and you shut him down on that. And he actually looks miffed when you say that. What is it you don't like about Sarah?
I don't like Sarah because she, let's see, what do I not like about Sarah? I think I don't like Sarah because she sort of smirks at me because I do wear all of my brother's clothes, and she's got all those designer jeans, like the Guess jeans and things like that. And it's, and she's like, always wants to talk to me about them. And I don't want to talk about them because I could never ask my parents for that much money for a pair of jeans. Does that make any sense? It's just It's one of those things that just $60, $80 for a pair of jeans.
That is a big social status symbol for kids in this time.
It is.
All right, so I'm going to cut from you back to JP. Let's do a home scene real quick. Come back. What do you suppose your parents do on the weekends?
Well, seeing as they live in a large suburban house, I think they do all the work that requires. So mowing the lawn, watering the plants, cleaning the house, doing the dishes, preparing dinner, going shopping, all that stuff.
And essentially, your mom has kind of got the grocery list together. She always takes your sister with her when she goes grocery shopping. And your dad, once you get the morning stuff, he's going to go to, the hardware store and spend a couple of hours there. So what's your reaction to that when your sister gets kind of taken, but you don't?
Yeah, so I think, as usual, his parents are busying themselves with what they think is important. They think that Ivan and John, that he's a good kid. He takes care of himself. He doesn't require a large investment. So they probably are just here's where we're going. This is how long we're gonna be. Be good. Don't get yourself into trouble. And and as usual, JP will be pouty and annoyed and a little bit he'll go along with it, but it's obvious that there's he's kind of annoyed, and I think his parents misread that as I don't know something else, just not what it actually is.
And your dad stops. He's about to head out. He says, "You okay?
Are you okay?"
I'm fine. Do you need anything while I'm out?
I'll take a couple fudgesicles.
Okay, well, I can grab those on the way back. Stop by the 7-Eleven. I'm just gonna be a couple hours at the hardware store talking with my buddies. You got some stuff to do, right?
Oh, Dad, I'm so busy. You have no idea. My schedule's full.
Okay. Well, yeah. Then you don't need to come with me then. All right. Well, we'll talk with you.
I don't even want to.
I figured who would want to
go through and boring hardware stuff.
No, I understand. Someday you'll dig that, but for me, it's the kind of the man cave kind of thing. So
I've heard of complicated things like computers.
Yeah, you certainly know more about that than I do. All right. Well, I'll leave you to it then. Slam.
Yeah, and then I'll just be I'll stare at the door. It's I kind of curse myself under the breath, I didn't have the courage to say I want to go with you, and I'm just no. And I think I'll kick something as I do. I just find something I don't know, maybe there's a tennis ball or something, and I just kick it as fast as I can, and it knocks something over in the house. And then
what breaks that is kind of important to your mom?
I think probably it's some trinket left over from our times in Russia. It might be maybe the small, maybe she has a ceramic or one of those nesting Russian dolls, and I knock over maybe one of the small ones or something like that. What are they called? Petrushka dolls or something like that?
Matrushka, I think.
Yeah, I think that's right.
And yeah, you'll hit it. They go scattering. And the one of the smaller ones hits, and you'll hear this as it breaks.
And then I think I'll yell out to my mom, being "Mom, one of your dolls fell."
Oh, she's not there. She already left.
Oh, okay, great. So then I'll notice that she's gone, and then I'll go and I'll get one of the dustpans and a little sweeper and sweep up the mess and pretend like nothing happened.
Okay, just kind of adjust them on the shelf in the order so it goes from little to shouldn't there be another?
Exactly. There's an obvious gap. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But I think in my head I space them out so that it seems perfect. There's no way she's gonna notice. This is so perfect.
Kid logic. It works. All right. Let me cut to JJ. Do you have a home scene you want to do, or do you want me to throw something at you?
I don't have a particular idea, but I wouldn't mind doing one with my mom again.
Okay. So your mom is back. It is Saturday. What does your dad usually do on Saturdays that keeps him out of the house?
Let's see where it's I think he's got like a golf game.
Okay.
He goes to a group from work that, he's really been trying to work his way up in the company, so he needs to do these socializing sort of. It's definitely not because it's fun and drinking all day.
All right, right, and certainly we mentioned the golf thing last time, so that's a good callback. And your mom doesn't dig this. She doesn't like that. Like every Saturday morning, which is the time when maybe in her household growing up, the family got together and they did stuff and then like cleaned the house and did projects and stuff. And he is always out there. And now he's golfing Saturday mornings and Sunday mornings. And she's a little bit off. And she'll be like, all right, what are we going to do today?
Well, I mean, I had a bunch of research to do. Like, I have a new stack of books from Mr. Grayson.
Did you go over to his house again?
Well, yeah, I needed some more books to read, and you know how many books he has. Plus, I needed to ask him some advice about some frogs.
Oh, honey, not sure he's the person you want to be asking advice about anything from.
Well, why not? He's been out in like the big world. He's a world famous author. Like, I mean, who around here would know any better?
He makes me just. So you remember your Uncle Tim?
Yeah.
You remember how he like doesn't get to drive anymore? Because
he's got that cool moped.
Yeah.
And he's got the golf cart that he drives around on his property?
Yeah. That's because he got his license taken away after a couple of arrests for driving while having been drinking.
Well, yeah, but like, and I think he sort of stops in the middle of the sentence because he was going to say something about Dad, but then just barely has enough intelligence to not say something about Dad. But I think it was sort of obvious to her.
She says, your friend, it just worries me how much he drinks. Every time I've walked around there, when I walked Tiny around, he's always on that little porch and he always has a tumbler and he is always drinking.
Well, yeah, but he's a responsible adult. It's not like he really drives anywhere. The grocery store is just right down the road, and otherwise I don't think he really goes much of anywhere. I
just want you to be careful around him, okay? Can you promise me that?
I won't let him drive me anywhere. How about that?
All right. Well, can you give me a couple of hours of your day? Just a couple?
I guess. Fine.
Good. Because we're gonna change all the sheets. We're gonna pull all those. We're gonna get the stuff out of the linen closet.
No, I thought we were gonna do something. You asked what I was gonna do today. Like we were gonna do, not clean the house.
All right. What do you want to do?
Well, I mean, if you don't want to sit around and read about frogs, we could go down to the zoo and they have an amphibian house.
Okay, let's go to the zoo.
It's educational.
Fine. And she will take you to the zoo. And I imagine that for her, she remembers taking you to the zoo when you were younger. and like the kid stuff, like when you get there and she's like, oh, we'll buy those pellets so you can feed the goats. And like you dug that when you were like 7 or 8, but now it's maybe a little embarrassing because it's all the little kids doing it, and then you.
I wish you'd let me feed the snakes. They feed the snakes on Saturday, and they'll let you help with that.
Oh no, that's ugh, they feed them mice.
Yeah, it's. I mean, no, pellets are okay.
And you probably do go and watch some of the snake stuff. Your mom won't go in to the amphibian barn. She just won't.
Amphibian barn.
They've got the cage there. It's dimly lit in there, and they've got the little lights on the little aquariums for the things. And do you find this pretty cool?
Yeah. Like I like the amphibian barn, anyways. But I also think like after I go and visit the snakes and sort of look and see if I can catch any of them being fed, I do make my way over to the like frogs that they have, and I'm just leaning in very close to the glass, and, like tapping on it a little bit, going, "Build, work, carry, build."
And you hear, "Oh, son, don't tap on the glass."
Oh, sorry. No, I was just seeing if I was talking to them.
Frogs don't talk. Sometimes when they do the croaking at night, it can certainly sound like language, but they don't talk.
Well, but like parrots don't talk, but they learn how to mimic stuff. What if frogs learned how to mimic sounds?
Well, you've got quite an imagination on you, young man.
Yeah, I guess. I won't tap the glass.
And we probably cut to the shot of from you back to the frogs, all kind of watching you from the case, just to be super sinister for a second.
Nice.
Butch. This is when you get home. Or rather when you kind of have gone out and you've come back to the house, and nobody's there. Like your mom and your dad and your brother are supposed to be there, but nobody's there.
Well, I suppose the house has this like cool garage where I usually leave my bike so that it's inside. So is the car gone as well?
Yeah.
Weird. I would just like go around the house and like, Mom, Dad, where are you? What do you have for lunch?
And nobody's there. Nobody's there to make your lunch. Nothing.
That's for Butch it's like super weird. So I suppose he would like maybe when they do leave, they leave him at least some kind of message. So he'll like check his door, check the kitchen, check the like the table where they where they usually eat family meals. Is there any kind of message or anything?
There's nothing written there, but you will see that there is a message on the answering machine, and you can kind of push that and
yeah. Why not? Maybe they just recorded something over that would be crazy, but sure. Yeah, let's just see it.
Hi, Mr. Starr. This is Officer Johnston. So we're going to need you to come down to the station to pick up your son. We'll talk about that when you get down here. He's been arrested on shoplifting charges, and we're going to need to have you come on down. So if you could give me a call back, and one of you come down to the station.
Yeah, Butch is like, the recording has ended, and Butch is like just standing there, Rick, shoplifting,
and you'll hear the car pulling up.
Yeah, Yeah, would he like hide it? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that they like catch him like standing over this like answering machine as they walk in, because he's like a lawful boy. So
they come in. Your brother sullenly goes up to his room. Your mom and your dad have just very upset expressions on their faces, and they're like, "Hello." Oh, and your mom goes, "Oh, I forgot to make lunch." And she kind of rushes over to do that to occupy herself.
yeah, so I suppose like Butch would like so Dad stayed in like and watching TV, or he went after Rick.
Okay, so you're going to go on up to follow your brother?
Not my brother, but like talk to the dad, because last time we had this like a little bit of discussion and it didn't end up well. So probably talk to the dad.
Your dad goes and gets a beer out of the fridge, and goes and turns on Saturday afternoon sports and drops himself in the couch and begins drinking pretty solidly.
Dad,
Hmm.
what's up with Rick?
Nothing.
So anything happened this like 2 days ago where I wanted to like say I'm sorry that I didn't clean up and everything, but like, yeah, I think something is happening with Rick. Are you going to like the hospital to fix his arm, or like what's up with Rick? I get the feeling that maybe something I'm not seeing is happening.
I need you to not worry about this. Just not right now. And looks like he's like pretty upset.
Okay, Dad. So yeah, let's do the risky thing. Let's go talk to the Rick.
Okay.
Like just like stand up, go upstairs, and go to talk to Rick. Why not?
Okay. Do you try and barge in, or do you knock?
Yeah, let's try it. I think he would knock. Like, that's the polite thing to do, I guess.
Who is it?
It's me, Butch.
Go away.
Come on, Rick. Let's talk. You never leave your room. Like, I wanna talk with you. You're my brother.
And he says, and really loud, "You can go to hell!" Like it carries.
Hmm. Yeah, I think Butch like really surprised by this. So yeah, I think he would go back to his room and just like, I don't know.
Yeah. You haven't heard your brother talk at you like that, and certainly not with that sort of real, upset in his voice. So let me cut then to Lisa. After all of those horrible things, let's finish up with you.
All right. So I figure I'm over at Lacapo's Pizza, right?
Mm-hmm.
And pretty much making a sign for free kittens.
And Mr. Lacapo's like, "Oh no, not more kittens."
Yeah. Sweetie's pretty devoted to the cause.
Yeah, well, maybe we can talk to the Humane Society, and maybe one of my daughters might want one. So I'll tell them. So.
Hey, thank you. And you don't mind if we put a little sign out, do you?
Sure. You can put that in the window.
Okay.
And you will see some girls your age from school come in,
All right.
and they come in and they do that thing where they look at you
Mhm.
and then they go together and they sit down at the table and they're doing that kind of whispered mutter about you. You
Really?
know it's about you. It must be about you.
Of course it's about me. So I'll stand up, go and get the menus from the counter, and I'll walk over to them, drop the menus down. You know what you want?
Oh, are you a waitress now?
Sure.
Well then, and they go through and they do the elaborate, like making you, well, maybe we'll get this kind of slice, or I don't know about how is the pepperoni today kind of things.
She says that pepperoni today is like it always is.
And they do their level best to kind of drag this out
Mhm.
and be mean.
All right.
So what is your date? What is her reaction to that?
Well, remember that she works in a business and her mom puts up with people yelling at her and all that stuff all the time. She does that kind of very like a business-like thing. And she goes and when she goes and puts the orders in with Mr. Lacapo, she also like stops, and that's a time where she has a conversation with him. So it's very much that kind of thing of she turns herself inward to the business as opposed to them at that time. She's got a pleasant face, very set like that, but she's like desperately trying to think about something to say to him that'll distract her. So she's like, "So how much do you think like a guitar would cost?"
Oh, are you talking acoustic from the Guitar Center or like an electric one? I know you can get those at like Kmart.
I want one of those.
I know you have to like have something that you plug into like a speaker thing, right?
No.
Isn't it like you need like an amp?
Oh wait, that does sound familiar. Yeah, I bet you do. So you got to buy two things.
Yeah. Uh, you know who you ought to talk to is Peter down at the shop. I know that he has guitars.
Okay. Well, I'm going to do that.
They'll go during the day. Don't go outside. They're little little potheads there.
She laughs. She goes, "That's okay. That's probably why they know about guitars, right?"
Absolutely, and they're always good customers. So
Okay. Well, I'm going to find out how much it costs, and then I'm going to see if I can make that much money by the end of the summer. Wait, there's only 2 weeks.
well, you've made and done some other odd jobs around. Maybe you'll be able to afford it. Maybe they have a used one.
Ooh. Wait, Kmart doesn't have anything used. Where would I get a used guitar?
Well, if you go down and talk to Peter, I'm sure he can point you to one of the pawn shops or something.
All right. And she essentially gets the pizza slices for the girls, takes the slices out, and then she kind of goes, "Bye, Mr. Lacapote," and leaves like right after that because it's not like she's actually working there. So.
Okay. So let's take 5 since I have eaten up time with this home scenes, and then let's bring the group back together, sort of in midst investigation of this frog. Does that seem fair? Okay. Thank you for indulging my desire to do some of the home stuff. I find that some of the more interesting bits of the tech here. So
I've loved all of the family scenes we've had so far and stuff like that.
I think we come in, the camera kind of comes into the shed, and what have you guys figured out as a means to contain this frog? What is the solution that you have settled on as a means to keep it in? Is it just a good solid reinforced cage?
I think Lisa brought something last time with her. It was a cage, but I don't know, made from wire or what was it?
It was like those milk bottle crates, but like the old metal ones, because of course, for bottles and stuff, and we've wired a couple of those together. So we sort of crammed them down in one and then put another one on top and wired those together.
And you definitely have the sense that this thing, having been in aluminum foil and having kind of fought against it for quite a while, like it's at a low energy stage. Like when it's in the crate, it's still alive and breathing, but it's clearly exhausted all of the sort of the force and energy that you saw before, when it was able to kind of break out of it. And it is kind of moving around. You don't see the chips like you saw on the other the frogs, the toads. But it seems to me, given your equipment and setup, that you want to take a look at this and maybe do, now having a live specimen, do a calculate roll, which our bookworm is the master of. And I think the others can.
I'm pretty good at it too.
Yeah. So you can get an extra die from the assist.
I like the idea of JJ like being the brains, but like JP taking credit.
Oh yeah.
And I think like I'm willing to let that happen because that means that you always jump forward to actually like interact with it and touch it and prod it and stuff like that. And it's cool if you want to get that close to it. I mean, I'm not scared. I would do it, but I'm not going to step on your toes.
I think the way that the form that takes place is I'll just be like, so I think that, and you like finish my sentence, and I'd be like, yeah, that's right. That's what I was trying to say.
All right, so let's have you roll your calculate with a bonus die.
Cool. Again, I don't think Tiny's helping me here, but let's see. Did it do? I hit a button. It didn't do anything.
Did it pop up with anything? Serious
no. Let me drop my sheet and reopen it. There we go.
All right. Are you happy with one success, or do you want to?
Oh wait, sorry. It hadn't taken off my condition.
Oh, you cleared your condition. Yeah. So,
yeah.
So do you want the one success, or do you want to re-roll with 8 dice?
I'll re-roll with the full die pool.
Absolutely.
A whopping still one success.
Okay. So are you happy with that, or do you want to re-roll?
No, I don't want to
keep the one success.
Wait, did you get one bonus die from me or no? Because it doesn't look.
Yeah, he put that in his calculate.
Oh.
Yeah, my calculate's normally a 3.
I see.
The reroll keeps the success.
Oh yeah.
Then yeah, I will do that.
Spend a luck and reroll. You're losing money not doing it.
Exactly. I'll lower my calculate by 1. And roll again. That's 2 successes.
So that gives you 3 questions from the calculate list.
Let's see. There we go. Oh, and it wraps around. Okay. Who built it?
So it does have to look like there's some tech here, but it's kind of weirdly put together, and kind of checking out the acid and stuff that it has in it, and kind of looking at it, and you will realize that like the acid stuff is actually like cleaning solvent.
I have a question actually before we get too deep in this. What does this scene look like? Because I imagine if we're all like super freaked out at this bullfrog, right?
Right.
And like, so we unwrap it, and are we all like standing back like 10 feet, like being like, you know, like I can imagine the suspense being pretty intense during this scene.
I've definitely got my soccer armor on because I don't know what this thing's capable
Yeah,
of.
I imagine we established, you had kind of unrolled it, and it's in these metal like milk crate things that have some look-throughs on it, but are pretty solid, so it can't bust out, and it is moving much more sluggishly and lethargically than the first time that they encountered it.
And I think we've definitely got like the chemistry set now sort of more officially and less haphazardly set up over in one corner with like an extension cord from the house running to it. And so I'm there protecting the equipment while you're gathering samples.
And it occurs to you, looking at the sort of the cleaning solvents and things like that, that you have seen somebody kind of work on, like, have a pretty good skill with robotics and stuff like that, that works with cleaning solvents, and it's actually the janitor from your school. Like you've seen him repair the automated cleaning robots and things, and that's not something he's normally supposed to do. And you know, because you regard him with a certain degree of suspicion, right?
Yeah, I think he knows something about the librarian he's not saying.
Yeah, you're like, might be him.
JP, do you want to ask a question in there since you were helping out?
Where's the list of this? I printed these out. Where did I put? All right, I don't know where I put my printout. Help me out with it.
Actually, wait a sec.
I think I have a.
And then there are a couple more questions as well.
Let's see.
Oh, thank you, Patrick.
Okay, so what do we got here? What problems could it cause? Is it illegal? Can I make up my own questions, or does it have to go off the list?
We're using the ones off the calculate list here. We're kind of sticking to those.
Okay. Is that the rest of the questions, or is there still other ones?
There are 6.
Oh, there they are. Sorry, I didn't see that you posted them in 2 separate things. Okay. I guess I would say, like, how could I use it?
So we established that the frog is sort of independent, like it operates independently. But you guys have enough. I mean, robots are a thing in this world, and signal tech and things like that. That you will realize that while it is independent, there is clearly like a tracker on this thing, and it might be possible to tinker and, you know, essentially use this frog as to track back.
Neat. And I think since JJ and I are like, we've been friends for a while, and I imagine we have I think we established this last time, that we have our own kind of like fast way of like understanding each other. And I imagine us kind of going back and forth with like these just parts of like ideas, and everyone just watching, being like, and I'd be like excited, excuse me, and he'll be excited, and no one, like the audience at home watching, doesn't know what the hell we're talking about.
That seems fair. I like that. JJ, do you have a final question?
Yeah. Let's see, we've seen an idea of what sort of problems it could cause. I don't particularly care if it's illegal. I know how it works. It's psychotronics. We already went over that.
Right.
So what is its purpose? Like, was it meant to inspire frog ziggurats, or what is it?
It definitely feels like something created to cause chaos. Like it doesn't have like a particularly sophisticated program in it, but it also seems, and it's hard to kind of pull this out, but it might have been sent out to gather those toads back. Like there's certainly, they were watching the toads, and you have the sense that maybe they're intended to be, at least part of their program is to shepherd those back.
Interesting.
Maybe. Sorry, Lowell.
So does that seem like a fair answer, Patrick?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think we'll sort of get to that point, and I'll turn to Lisa and be like, it's like that new book that that Mr. Grayson gave me that I was talking to you about. It's like these weird psychic demigods that are out there to control the other frogs and make them do what they want, and these evil overlords of janitors, an evil janitor who's trying to, I don't know. Sort of falls apart.
Well, and she goes, why would he make frogs? Who's frogs? That doesn't seem like a janitor thing.
Well, yeah, but it's like he knows a lot about the robotics. I've seen him taking things apart, and it's all these cleaning solutions. It's not organic acids. And also, like, he's really fishy.
Why do you say that?
Well, I mean, you know, he lives over on the east end of town, and like his clothes are always dirty, and he's always looking at me really mean.
He just looks evil, Lisa.
Yeah, he looks evil. You could just tell.
Like the evil wizard from the game we played 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, I bet he's totally a blood sorcerer or something.
You know, I hear that he's kind of was always hanging around the library at school. I mean, like in there all the time. So you get away with it.
Wait, did you see something between him and Miss Mary?
I never saw anything. I just heard some people saying that he would be in there a lot.
Well, that's exactly what an evil gender wizard would be doing if he was researching how to make cybernetic frogs.
Yeah, I mean, this is...
Janitor wizard, JP?
Well, I mean, obviously, it's not wizard, Lisa. We're just using it as a term. You know, it's like a tech wizard.
Okay.
Well, I think we obviously have more than enough evidence. I mean, it would be irresponsible for us not to, you know, go investigate more and find the proof that he's involved in all of this badness that we can take to the police.
Hey, JJ, do you think because, you know, and then just like take off the cloth from my dad PC in our shed, like not really, like it's in parts. It's like open and the cables are sticking in, and I just take this like bunch of cables. Hey, JJ, I need to like some connector to connect these cables to the frog, and then we can see what program it's running, and we can rewrite those programs, and we can send the frog to spy on its creator.
Yeah, Butch, that's a great idea. You can do that?
I think this is when like JP's fantasies of being MacGyver like come into full like fruition, and he's just trying to find like a paperclip and, you know, some kind of like clamp and God knows what to jury rig some kind of like interface to connect into this frog. I imagine him like sticking things in the frog's like mouth, or I don't know what.
So, yeah, I think that's perfect. I think you've got two choices how to approach this. You could program to sort of change its programming and send it back, or you could tinker to try and essentially build that reverse tracker.
I'm not great at programming, but
I'm
doesn't
okay with both of
Butch?
them.
Yeah,
Does
like a
Butch
single
have some
point.
programming?
Yeah, like like a single point.
I like it. I'm going to go and borrow a phone book, though, while we're working this out.
Yeah, I think, yeah, both you and I are just as skillful at that, Ava, or Butch.
So who wants to roll, and you can get an extra die?
I think I imagine that the way this working is like, because JP always wants to be like the show off. So I think he's the one who's just like jamming the ends of the cable. Like, I don't, like, maybe he like forces the frog's mouth open and there's some kind of interface in there. And he recognizes it as the connection or something, and he splices the cable. And then he throws the end to Butch, who connects it to some part of the computer. And I imagine like I have to hold the frog in place, and we have this like dramatic tension where at any moment, like if the frog wakes up or whatever, that JP is in the worst possible position.
That seems perfect.
And Butch is trying to like frantically program before this happens. And he's maybe asking me questions, and I'm yelling him like, "No, that's a for loop," or like, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm just like trying to think what do you want to get out of this, because from my point of view, maybe if you hack it, we can like see maybe he like whoever like created this maybe like left some evidence, because sending it back or programming it to go back doesn't really give us anything. So
Well, it helps us confirm our suspicions.
Yeah, we found like there's some sort of tracker in it, so if we can track back to where it's being controlled from, like that'll definitely be the janitor's house or his closet or some shed on the school grounds, and it'll prove that he's the one.
Yeah, exactly. And I'll be like, this is just like that. And then I'll reference, like, I think the way that we communicate JJ is like sci-fi references to books and films, and I'll be like, this is just like Doctor Who episode number 7, right?
You just have to reverse the signal and track it back to its source.
Yeah, reverse the polarity.
Oh yeah, I remember this from Star Trek. Cool. So if our approach to this is like programming, I will gladly accept JP's help and give it a roll and see what comes.
Okay.
Next.
Now, do you want to reroll?
Yeah, I have some luck points, so let's give it a reroll. Program.
Okay.
Now that is a reroll.
So yeah, you will absolutely be able to reprogram this thing, and let's say before the frog might have like taken off, and you would have had to chase it.
Mm-hmm.
But with a 4 on the programming, you can actually have it so the frog goes and waits, and you can keep pace with it, so it doesn't like get ahead or get lost or anything like that. Like it gives you a clear track. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. I love the idea of seeing the through the frog's vision, like Predator or RoboCop, and then like it's scanning us, and then like you hit a button and we just like disappear off its vision or something like that.
And yeah, you'll be able to do that, get that set. Now, Lisa, you said you wanted to look some things up while this was going on.
Yeah, I wanted to get the addresses for the janitor and for the librarian.
Sure. Let's have you roll investigate.
Okay.
Kind of pull pieces together.
Or that just seems pretty straightforward. Oh, 0 successes. That doesn't make any sense at all. I have everything I need. I will re-roll. How do you do the re-roll? Just
you just roll it again, and you spend a luck point.
Still 0 successes on 6.
So you will get the addresses, but that's it.
If you wanted, I think your pride could totally come into play here.
Oh, yeah.
What would that be for? Does he have what, +1 or what?
It's a free success.
Free success.
Oh, well, then I'll take that.
Okay. Then I will say that I believe was mentioned that the janitor has a house on the east side of town and kind of scuzzy part of town, and you'll get that. But in your looks, you will see that his last name is Timber, and you can see that there's another address listed for J. Timber, actually out like more closer to the marshlands.
Oh.
And you kind of glance at, they probably have the topo maps, the U.S. topographical maps, and you can see that there are a number of lots that are out there that are kind of marsh and lakeside and so on, and it looks like the janitor owns one of those places.
Okay. Yeah, they have like one of those lake houses where it's always perpetually damp and smells like mildew. Sure, I know.
Yeah. They get dehumidifiers and they just don't work.
Right, exactly.
It's just wet.
Not
so that's what you can get from that.
Okay. So, and I will tell him, he's got a house out there, so we might be heading that way.
I love the idea of you coming back with this information just neatly written on a piece of paper while the three of us are covered in frog slime, and JP has some scorch marks on him, and everything smells like terrible acid chemicals.
Yeah, I actually think that JP will put you down or something and be like, Lisa, we already got that information. The frog is going to lead us there. I don't even know why you're wasting your time.
Okay, so we're going to follow a frog out there?
Sorry, I didn't quite catch what you said.
She goes, so we're going to follow a frog out there?
Well, yeah. It's a psychotronic frog that we hacked and reprogrammed, and you look like you're a lot less slimy.
You never watched Doctor Who or something?
This is a nerd show.
Do you say that under your breath, or do you say that loud?
I think she just says it, it pops out of her mouth.
Yeah, and then I think that's when, JP would be like, if my hand wasn't holding down this frog right now, I would come over there and I'd show you what a nerd really is.
She kind of does this. She doesn't get your bite.
I think Josh gets really red-faced and embarrassed and sort of shuffles over to the chemistry set when she talks about Nerd Show.
Hey guys, being a nerd is like being cool, yeah? I guess.
No,
anyway.
No, that's never worked.
I think, when you say that, I think JP just I think he's you'll say shut up, Butch, we're not nerds.
But didn't we just reprogram the frog?
Yeah, but MacGyver reprogrammed in episode 7, season 2, he reprogrammed that flying robot to go back to the bad guy's base. And is MacGyver a nerd? Hell no.
Yeah.
Cool. So
nerds, come on.
So GP, so how do we call ourselves? Sci-fiers? Sci-fi?
Look, you guys can figure it out on the way. She's going to get there before us.
Yeah. Anyone has some camera to do some photos as a proof?
We don't need a camera. We got a cyber frog. I'm sure it can record videos.
I think given the VCR technology, you may be overstating things. But certainly, I'd like to maybe cut forward.
Yeah.
Grab things together. I imagine that it's a combination of just traveling out to the marshes, getting close to the area that Lisa has found, and then putting the frog down. Like, so you're not following it across town. Like, you're able to do that. And that will be the thing. We'll get to a like dirt road that goes into the marsh with the classic like fences and the no trespassing, and trespassers will be prosecuted, and guard dog, and they got little barbed wire in places here on the fence line. It has that real look of crazy old man.
I love the idea of getting a scene of us of like this really suspenseful music and us putting down the frog to like go, but it doesn't go anywhere. And then like we're all just crouching in the bushes, and then one of us like goes up and pokes it and quickly runs away, and it doesn't do anything. And like like every time we think something's gonna happen, but nothing happens. And then finally, like the classic JP like ruins everything by kicking something kind of story, except this time it's just like, oh, this sucks, and like kicks a rock and it hits the frog and it leaps and like goes into motion.
Absolutely. And maybe you'll finally realize you actually need to turn your programming thing on too. And that frog will hop through the fence and it goes into the property. So here's the question I have for you do you want to climb over? Do you want to try and open the gate? Do you want to try and carry your bikes over? How do you want to do this?
Well, is it like marshy land?
There's a fence around this piece of property, and it kind of goes down into woods that will go into the marshland there.
Because I always imagine like when the ground is wet and badly formed, it's kind of hard to place like posts and make like a good fence. So I imagine in some places it's probably bent or like doesn't quite reach the ground. I imagine being able to bend the fence or get under the fence at some point.
Okay, so kind of want to maybe break up a section of it.
Yeah, maybe like one part's already kind of tottering over, or like isn't like squarely in the wet ground, and,
sure.
And so we're able to like lift it, and maybe you get this dramatic like like as if it's the heaviest thing in the world, and JP's just like like lifting this fence that's like not that heavy, and like you get the shot of the vein on his forehead, like is he struggling to let the other people underneath?
I do like the sort of kid logic idea that, no, we can't leave our bikes here on the road, like people will see it. And we can't like break into the gate because people will see it. But if we go 20 feet that way and knock over part of the fence, it'll be fine.
I think I want a force roll for this.
Yeah, it sounds good. I'll do that.
The risk that is on the table, I mean, you're going to lift it. You're going to do it. But the risk here is drawing attention, making noise.
Sounds good. Let's do it.
Okay. So let's have you make that force roll. So one success is enough to lift this up, and you all can get in over this sort of pushed over or lifted up piece of fence, and you can make your way, I assume go to the gravel road, since that's the only place you can bike on really around here, and head on in.
I think in JP's mind that was like radical, and like he's like, just JJ, did you see that? And then probably from all the perspective of all the other kids, they're just like, whatever. Like he's just holding the fence and going underneath. And like I think when we get a shot in my mind, I'm like struggling, and you hear this epic music, and then we get a shot of like the other kids seeing the situation, and it's just like you just hear crickets and rivets in the background. Yeah.
Yeah, all the frogs and the crickets and the cicadas that are out here, all of that noise. So you can roll down this road. The frog continues on. And you will eventually kind of hit where it's now kind of started to get marshy a little bit, maybe a little bit solid, but a little bit wet out by the trees that are here, and you can see up ahead that there is like a single level and house, and I'm using the word loosely, like kind of like lakeside shack that has not been kept up particularly well. You can see that out in the yard, there is a car that's up on bricks. There are engine parts scattered around. There's a wheelbarrow filled with something. It has the look of a just decrepit, not very well kept up shack. It's got a screen door. The wood here on the place seems not like it was painted and then just repainted without kind of scraping. It's got that kind of look to it. So now that you see that, and the frog is continuing on, what do you want to do? How do you want to proceed? Let me ask Butch here. We haven't heard from you for a little bit here.
Yeah, I suppose like Butch would. I don't know. I think Butch would just say, like, is it really? I think we might have our wrong address, but the frog is over there. Let's follow the frog and see where it lands. Maybe let's leave our bikes so that we can like use the bushes as cover, so that if the giant wizard is here, he will not see us so easily.
Yeah, I think JP will jump in and he'll be like, "Yeah, Butch, good idea. So we're gonna sneak ahead, Lisa. You stand back. You watch for cover, okay?"
And she sort of narrows her eyes, and I think she'll put her bike down. She'll go, "I'm going to go check in the back. He must have a car out here somewhere. If he doesn't, then it means he's gone." And she'll start to cut over so that she can go to the other side of the shack just to check to see if there's a car out there.
Okay.
And I think as you're leaving, he's just like, "Yeah, like, wait, Lisa, I said you're the lookout."
So let's do your sneak.
Okay.
And then we'll do the sort of the group sneak. So sneak is body.
All right. I got a success.
So you will move around the side, and you come around the side where the drive kind of carries forward, and you can see that there is a van, one of those windowless panel vans. It looks like it used to have like a airbrushed thing on the side, but somebody's like spray painted over it, so it looks pretty horrible. And yeah, there's definitely a vehicle here, but you can also see that the drive kind of continues on into the marshland, like back part of the property.
Okay.
Does that seem like fair info?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. If you move over to the van, you can kind of maybe put your hand on it, and it's ambient temperature, so it doesn't feel like it's been driven really recently.
Okay. Is it locked?
Oh, it'd be more fun if it wasn't.
Yes. So I think the thing I'm going to do is I'm going to very quietly get in, because if there's anyone who's good at searching a car, it's Lisa. And essentially,
okay,
what's in there.
I'm going to come back to you on that. I want to get the others, and then I'm going to cut back to you. So you three are going to try and sneak around the other way. Am I understanding that right?
Just following the frog wherever it leads us.
So this is a sneak roll made with body.
From all of us, or from one?
I think we start with one person, because you can actually give extra successes to help another kid sneak. So let's start with a sneak roll from you, since you were kind of taking the lead on that. Butch, and we'll see. So you are fine. And then JP
just left my bike behind some bushes, and then I'm just like sneaking, like quietly opening the bushes and moving forward, making sure that it don't like not to step on anything to it will break.
Yeah, and then I think we get a contrasting shot from watching me sneak, and it's me like a military guy, like I'm like rolling and like going places that make no sense.
Serpentine. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Which brings us to you and Tiny.
Oh, yeah. And my mirror armor. Don't forget about that.
Oh, yeah.
All the best tools for sneaking. That is a entirely shocking 0 successes.
So I think that you will kind of move up, and the other two are kind of moving and come up, and you like make some noise. What happens? What is it that you step on? What is it you knock over that causes this noise?
Oh, I think there's like an old sort of lumber firewood pile that I trip over like a root, and my knee knocks out one of the lower logs, and the whole like one entire diagonal line just rolls and shifts down all the way to the ground.
And you will hear a and you will see what is called a Mix 7-9. I've got a picture of that in the thing I will show you.
Oh, no.
It's a standard, like, labor bot. And it kind of comes trundling from the backyard. It's old and rusted, and you can see where sections of it have been rebuilt and so on. It's like a, like a 79 Chevy version of a robot here. A little bit of oil coming out of the oil pan on it. But you can see that there is a little like pod on the front of it, like a bubble, like an aquarium thing, and you will see this frog in there, and it is coming after you.
All right, JP totally
I'm terrified, I swear.
Okay. We'll come back to you guys in a second on that. Lisa, what is it that you find in this van that tells you that Officer Richards was here?
Oh, I know, because I know them very well. I find her car keys, because of course she has her car serviced. I mean, the whole police department, all 4 of them.
Yeah, it's kind of laying on in the back on the floor. And they usually have those key rings on the belt thing with the little wire thing. That whole little clip thing is just laying there on the floor.
Okay, I pick that up, and I sort of lean back out and I look around to see where the guys are. Can I see them?
Well, you kind of look. You're on that far side. You don't see them, but you hear a from the backyard moving towards the other side of the house. That sound is carrying.
Really?
Yeah.
So the car keys are in here, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So that sounds like a mech. I mean, we're familiar with those things.
Oh yeah, it's a labor bot.
Okay. All right. I think I'm going to start the van up.
Okay. So you can get the van started and have that ready and in position. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Okay. Let me sort of start reverse order, because I really do want to know what your reaction to this is, JJ. And this time Tiny like stands his ground.
Wow. Okay. But no, it's this is a robot coming at me. I have
Yes.
my noble steed. I have my armor on.
Absolutely.
Nothing scares me so far, and we're ready for this. So,
It's like the robot's death from that Doctor Who episode with Tom Baker.
yeah. So all you have to do is rip out the cable that connects to the motivators in its legs, and then it can't walk anymore, and then we can talk to it, and it'll reveal its whole evil plan to us. Brilliant. Okay, so all I need to do is run past it, sort of dive through its legs, like I've seen Butch do 100 times, and grab a cable and rip it out on the way through, and then they'll be both like so impressed with me.
So, as I understand it, that sounds like you're trying to tinker.
Oh, thank God.
With the consequences being that you've got this grabby guard robot here.
And I think Tiny is definitely coming to my aid and being a barking distraction. Not helping with noise levels, but helping with the robot.
Absolutely.
All right. Tinker?
Yeah.
There we go. Oh, come on. No, that is definitely not what happened. What happened was... Spend a luck point. Yes, that much better one success.
So the effect right now is you want to kind of make it so it can't move. Like it can't move forward on its legs, right?
Yeah. It can still like turn around, use its army things or whatever.
Right. And so I think you will do that and you'll be able to pull that off of there and it's kind of immobilized. You will see it turn. It's got like some jets on it too. But let's check in with Butch and JP.
I think I'm just on the ground, like backing away from it going, that's not standard.
Yeah,
Butch?
I think...
Or JP, which...
So I don't know. This reminds JP of an episode of Doctor Who / MacGyver that he's seen, and I think the idea here
his
is,
MacGyver Doctor Who fan fiction that he wrote.
Yeah. There was probably a crossover episode or something, and in this alternate reality, and I think maybe he watched it together with Butch in this circumstance. And I think something happened. Basically, it's one of those classic scenes in like any action film where one person runs out and is the distraction, and then another person like runs out and like wraps a rope around something and like ties it to something else and gets the robot to try to move, but in so doing like traps itself or like destroys itself kind of situation.
Okay, so it is a movement immobilized. So.
Right, but I imagine, like, for instance, just like it can turn around, right? Like its torso can turn. So,
okay.
like, I imagine, like, if we wrapped a rope around, like its arms, let's say, like we hooped it, and then we just ran circles around it, or something like that, then it would tie itself up.
Sure, that sounds like force to me. Are you good with that, Butch?
I'm just like curious, like because I know we said that robots are a thing, but are such robots a thing? Do we have more of such robots in town doing like various stuff? I'm just like trying to imagine what would be like Butch's initial reaction to such.
No, robots are pretty common in terms of labor stuff and industrial things, and this is like the sort of very much the default, like lifting, carrying, doing basic things robot. That are around. You've seen a lot more of them in town because of the construction for the loop. So you're getting these MiG 79s, and then some of these ones that are called Ambos. I'll show that to you. That are like 20 feet tall.
Okay.
That are more carrier transport ones. And here's like I'll show you what a tractor looks like. That's a ground effect tractor.
All right, cool. So I suppose as we are doing this, as we are about to do it, Butch would probably like shout, "Okay, I'll be the distraction so that it doesn't like claw at JJ or at you." So yeah, I'll like, hey, I'm here.
Yeah. I think before you run away, I want to get a look like we get the shot of us staring each other in the eye, and I say something like a quote from MacGyver like episode where I'm like, "Stay safe, soldier," or something like that.
Just to make it extra dramatic. All right. So Butch, do you think that's you giving an extra die to the force roll, or do you think it's a separate roll for you on something?
I don't know. Depends how many threats this thing still poses. I totally imagine it just me helping JP tie it up. But if you think there is some more threats to be avoided here, then it can be it's a patrol. I don't know.
Well, I actually like that. I think you could make a move roll to essentially keep it from firing off those sprayers. Does that seem fair? While he locks it up.
Oh yeah, so it looks like I'm just like jumping, and it's like maybe it just fires, but like misses me, and it's suddenly I was hoping for it to be like just a distraction, but it's turns out to be like a dodge for your life situation.
I also love the idea of like we get a shot into the glimpse of future of Butch, and he's like rounding the bases like on a grand slam or something like that, and he's running a circle, and you've got this like look in his eye, like determination, and then we get a shot in him in the present rounding, like this is all going to become relevant.
Perfect. Let's have you roll move, and then we'll move to the force roll from JP.
How did it go?
Not well.
Didn't go too well. Well, let's do this home run. So I will spend a luck point.
Okay.
And do it my home run around the bot. Yay!
One success, just enough, and it does spray this. It's not quite the orange acid stuff, but it smells foul, and it kind of when it hits the side of the house, it does kind of crackle and pop when it hits there. And you keep it from spraying onto JJ, and then you're going to try and immobilize it, JP?
Totally, yeah. So I think while he's running around, I'm going to like lasso a rope around its arm, and then like just watch it as it's running, like spinning around, trying to target Butch. Like I'm just holding the rope and letting it wind around. And then once it's like totally wound up, I'm going to tie it off on something.
Let's have you roll force.
Bam.
Holy capoly. So you will immobilize this thing, wrap it up, knock it over, drop it to the ground. It comes crashing down. And I think essentially immobilize, knock down, and actually hit it so it overloads and shuts down.
Oh, wow. That was amazing.
Like it's spectacular.
I actually, if it's okay with you, I would love for it to just still be standing, because I have this image in my eye of Lisa driving a car that I really want to see.
Lisa, you've got the van started.
Hmm?
What do you want to do?
Well, I'm really good at essentially maneuvering cars around in tight spaces. So I think I'm just like I 3-point everywhere, right?
3-point everywhere, kind of coming through the backyard.
Essentially, I'm going to do that, 3-point back around, come back around.
You see, as you come around, coming out of the marsh,
yes,
coming up on the road this way, you will see that kid Peter.
Yeah.
And it from the shop, the kind of the scummy guy from the head shop.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see that he is kind of running up, and he's got some kind of device in his hand.
Like what kind of device? Like he's going to like waving something threateningly, or like he's running?
Like no, like he is running up to find out what's going on up here. Like he's been sent to figure out what the noise was, and he's got some kind of like a box, and he will see those three.
Okay, and does he make a beeline for him?
He's definitely like he's going to try and do something there.
All right, then I'm going to run him down. Well, no, I won't run him down.
Oh my Jesus Christ!
Game of chicken. Does that make any sense?
Sure. What do you think we should roll that on?
Heck.
Okay.
I mean, that's
so to operate. So that would be Tinker would be the appropriate one for that for driving.
Yeah, Tinker. Yeah. Sorry, I was unspecific. So I guess that's what I would do.
Okay.
And success.
So he is coming. He's got what looks like some kind of like maybe he's going to send more frogs at them, or or call something like that. And then he will see the van come, shooting at him, and he will leap and fall back into the water, essentially into the marshy water there, and kind of crashes down there as you kind of skid up with the van.
Okay.
Just a question. Do we see what do we see Lisa use to push the gas and the brakes? Do you have?
Oh, she's probably tall enough
long...
to reach it. Yeah. At that age, yeah.
Okay, so just like the eye steering like above the steering wheel and just like pushing the pedals.
Yeah, pretty much you can see her forehead, and then of course her big pom-pom ponytail, because she got the frizzy hair. So that's what.
Yeah, like looking through the steering wheel almost.
I love her. I love the idea of her being in like first gear or something. Or like...
Oh, she knows how to drive. She's from an automotive family.
Got it. Okay.
So she actually, you're probably all startled because she does drive it really well, and kids aren't supposed to drive.
Yeah, I think there's definitely like as she's coming to a halt, there's the shot of JJ like poking his head through some brushes, and he's covered in mud, and his helmet is like half canted to one side and over an eye, and he's just looking down at Lisa like in the car, looking all badass behind the steering wheel, just.
I think JP in this moment when he sees Lisa driving this thing, you get that like classical music, the like he's like falling in love with Lisa because she's so badass.
Little soft focus.
Yeah, like it's slow motion and her hair is just moving and she's like going to run this guy over and he's like, "This is the coolest girl I've ever seen in my whole life."
The sequence is soft and slow-mo and stuff, and it probably ends with of the kid flying back and dropping into the water there.
Exactly. Yes. Perfect.
So, what do you do, JJ?
I think I run down towards the van, going like, "Oh my God, Lisa! Oh my God, that was awesome! Oh wow, you ran him down. It was like stunt driving from a show or something. Ooh, what's that box?"
Do you want to try and grab the box?
Yeah.
I don't think it's a problem for you to grab it. The kid is sort of splashing around in the water trying to get up, but kind of waterlogged right now. You can grab up this essentially bullfrog control box.
Ooh. Yeah, I'll start poking at it.
Do you want to try and figure out how it works?
Yeah. Was it calculate, comprehend?
Yeah, let me think here. No, I don't think you're investigating it. I think it's actually still be just Tinker to operate it. Because I think you already know enough about these things. Does that seem fair?
All right.
I imagine this kid being like distracted because he's covered in leeches and he's freaking out.
Oh yeah, he's probably this is not what he imagined here with his assisting a villainous mastermind being a witless minion. Did not expect that this day. Patrick, also, I'm going to give you an extra die because you got those that calculate thing, which actually gives you a +1 forward.
Oh, cool.
So I think we can give you an extra die on this tinker roll for this.
So yeah, I'll be poking at it, and then I'll sort of like looking over my shoulder, and I go over to the van door, and I'll be like, is this what you were chasing down? It looks like a control box.
And she sort of looks over and says, "They've got Officer Richards."
Oh man!
It says in the van. In the van.
Like she's in the van or what?
I'll hop in the back of the van and start hitting buttons. Yeah.
Okay. So what are you doing, Butch, as she kind of says that?
I suppose Butch was doing the correct thing and just like helping the guy out from the water. So to just like question him first, we should get someone out of the water so that he doesn't like drown or anything, and then we can question him. So like gets into the water, grabs the guy, chucks him to the shore, and then just like exits the water himself, and just say, and just like says, and what do you think you're doing here?
So let me think how this would work here. I think that he's like a 17-year-old.
Okay.
So he is bigger than you are. Let me think what the proper way to do this is. Let's have you roll. Do you have lead or contact?
Both.
Roll one of those, I think, to kind of catch this kid off guard. Does that seem like a fair way to handle that?
Yeah. I also have charm, but it's not so good. But maybe that's the proper one. Like talk him into working with us.
Okay, yeah, I'm fine with that too.
So yeah, just to like follow up.
One of the possible things on charm is to frighten, confuse, or impress.
Yeah, makes sense. Cool. Yeah, let's roll this.
Okay. So yeah, I think even though he's a 17-year-old and you guys are younger, it's the being knocked over by the van and the marsh there, and he is kind of freaked out more than anything. And he's like, I didn't. I don't know why. I didn't say the cops were going to get involved. I don't understand what's going on. It's just all of it. And then I just yeah.
Slowly. Start from the beginning.
What are you doing, JP?
I think I'm telling this dude to stand still, and I'm pulling out a lighter and burning the leeches off of him.
Okay.
Just like, stand still, dude. I'm trying to burn these leeches off of you. What are you doing?
God. And so yeah, he starts talking. Lisa and JJ, you've got this frog control panel working.
Yep. And I used my last luck point to reroll. I ended up with 2 successes.
Nice.
And what I want to go with for the bonus is you don't need to roll to overcome the exact same trouble in the future. So that this is like taking care of the frogs or whatever it controls.
You absolutely know how to deal with these frogs now. Lisa, what are you doing?
Essentially, she's gotten out. She's opened up the back of the van and the other side thing, and she's sort of waiting for their questioning of Peter. And she's got her hands crossed, and she's like, "Okay, they've got Officer Richards," and she is sort of like looking at him like he better go along with it, or she's going to run him over. I mean, very much in that threat mode.
And I want to add to Lisa's role, because I think every once in a while I get a little gleam in my eye, and I intentionally burn him like a little bit with the lighter.
He's like, dude, he was just, he's got the like Frog Lab and you know, out there, and he's making these cool frogs, and we're gonna do shit with them, and you know, that's what's going on, man.
Where's Richards? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, but that's probably to ask the same. Like, where's Officer Richards?
Oh man, she came by the boat and got freaked out, and so yeah, she's down there, and it's crazy. And I didn't think the cops were going to get involved.
And I think JP's like, "You're in big trouble, dude. You know, like, if you help us, we can say that you helped us."
I'm not messing with him. He's crazy.
There's like 5 of us, and you're 17. You're huge.
He is clearly more terrified of the janitor than he is of you guys.
And I like yell over to JJ. I'm like, JJ, you figure that out?
Yeah, there's actually like a field you can turn on. It makes all the frogs run away from us. It'll be great.
You think you could make a frog army for us?
Well, if you give me a wild poke at it, I was going for, like, go away, not come back and form up in ranks. But, I mean, let me look at it.
Frog army, JJ, frog army.
Yeah, frog army.
And this kid just wants to run off. Now that shit has gone south for him.
Yeah, I suppose Butch wants to give him a last chance to redeem himself, and maybe it's a bit of a stretch from Elite, but Butch would like as JP like burns all of the last leech off of him, Butch will say, "Well, Pete, you have been on the wrong side of the janitor wizard, and now is the time to join our party and help us, because he will not suspect that you will go and free Officer Richards while we distract him. So you see, we need you, and that's the right thing to do."
Let's have you roll charm.
Sure. Apparently, he isn't into it really.
He's like, "No, man, I'm not doing that. I'm out of here." And he will take off. You know, a couple of leeches left on him, some burn scars and stuff. You know, he just thought this was cool, crazy, juvenile delinquent stuff, and now it's gotten way too heavy for him. He like runs off. So what do you four want to do then?
I want to go compliment Lisa for sure.
Oh, she's like, "Oh, okay, whatever." Like, are we going to charge it with the van, or are we going to sneak up there?
Well, I suppose I would just like look on JJ. So, can the frogs like help us? Do you like see something in there, or do you just like make them move left and right?
I think they could lead us back.
Bang!
In. Ah!
And you'll hear a gunshot.
Wow.
And you can see, like, coming up from that path, you will see the janitor, and he actually has a pistol and probably just blew out the passenger window of the van. And shit just got serious.
Okay. It's still our best armor. And I'd rather be in control of it. So I think she jumps back in. She keeps her head low.
Okay.
And essentially you can hear she's putting the van in gear. So you guys decide what you're going to do.
Yeah, I think all of us definitely JP jumps in. I imagine him like jumping in and like landing on your lap or something and just being like, "Everybody get in! Heal out, Lisa!"
kind of to push him off so Lisa can get the van into gear. What are you doing, Butch?
Well, Butch definitely like, oh, the evil wizards now shoots boomsticks. So it's time to like run from the water and hide. Like because Lisa opened like the back of the van. So I suppose Butch like in the back, like low, because I'm not sure if she will like drive forward or backwards. So he's like in the back of the van, just I don't know, maybe look to lean out from the door and just like hit someone with the bat, but definitely like using van being inside the van as a cover.
Run, jump inside the back of the van. JJ's there as a very wet Butch jumps in, and this janitor, as you kind of car is getting into gear. I mean, he is just bracing, and he is putting bullets into the van methodically.
Really?
Yes. So JJ, what do you want to do? And then I'm going to come to Lisa.
I think I'm sort of like panicking and huddled over Tiny, and like all I've got in my head is JP yelling at me like, use the frog army, use the frog army, use the frog army. And so I'm desperately trying to find a way to like turn them that way. I don't know if I can make them attack, but maybe I can make them gather and like freak him out or mess him up or something. But yeah, frantically hitting the control box.
So essentially, you're trying to create a distraction. Well, Lisa does her thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you think we should do that as like a bonus die to her roll? Or do you
sure.
do a separate thing?
Either way, I could just do a bonus die to her roll.
So describe to me what happens. He's up, he's a good 20, 30 yards away and braced, and he's clearly got Officer Richard's gun, and he is firing it at the van. Things are breaking, rear the side view mirror blows off. What does your distraction look like with this frog control device?
So I think we'd gotten sort of comfortable with ours because it was all exhausted and been like docile for a day and a half or whatever. And so we'd sort of forgotten like how powerful and quick these things were. So I think in the trees, the sort of marshy trees and vines, there's this like buzzing noise that starts to shake some of the branches. And then you see these like, they gotta be like 10 or 15 pound frogs that like land on these tree branches around him and around the van. And then they just start like going wild and flying in every direction.
Yeah, and I love the idea of seeing these frogs like leaping in slow motion, and then like Wagner Flight of the Valkyries is like,
oh yeah, cross. He's kind of dodging. Lisa, what are you doing? You have an opportunity here,
and I'm going to take it. However, I have seen enough car accidents that I am unwilling to actually run him over.
Okay.
However, willing to hit him with my driver's side door as I go by, and I'm yelling back to Butch that we're about to come up on him, so get ready with his bat. So she's still brutal, but she's not going to run him over with a wheel.
Let's have you make that roll for driving.
Okay, this is it. Let's see here. 0 successes. I will re-roll. I use my pride is nope, won't help.
What's your item?
Well, my item is a Swiss Army knife. Let's see here.
Can I help you, Lisa?
Yeah, you could.
I like the idea of like, I look up at you, or like I lost my balance. Like you turned the thing, and I fell on the ground, and I just look up at you from like where your feet are, and I'm like, I'll gas it. You like concentrate on the steering. And I just like slam my fist into the gas, and you do the driving. It like frees you up.
Yeah, I think that does. She can like actually stand up so she can steer and push the door out with a little bit more.
So that'll be a bonus die. You can roll the bonus die first.
Okay, so
if you get the success.
Let's roll 1d6. Okay, no. Okay. And then I roll with my luck, right?
Yeah, you can spend a luck, or you can mark a condition and re-roll.
Well, maybe I'll spend my luck first. If that doesn't work, I'll
Okay.
mark it.
All right. So you can set your tinker to 2 and your tech to 3.
Yeah. Got it. I got a success. Yay.
So you get that up in position. You get that door and you will knock into him. He kind of has to step aside. Like he thinks he's just sidestepping the van and he's kind of not realizing what you're doing. And he's still watching the frogs because of that. So he is absolutely in that position. So we've got essentially the success from the distraction, the success from this. You'll catch him with that car door. He's not expecting it and kind of spin around. And then Butch, what do you do?
Well, for one, I don't imagine doing violence to an adult is a proper way here. So anyway, I think like Butch would like jump out as we drive by him and just like come in to like to just like disarm him from this pistol. So like
Perfect.
back the hand pistol goes like flying away.
Roll force.
I like the idea of us getting the cut to the future again, and you see you swinging the bat.
Yeah.
And then again it cuts back to the present.
And you will catch this guy. He was kind of stunned from the car door, and you knock the pistol out of his hands, and he will go flop back, drop to the ground, hit the water, unconscious, disarmed, and out of commission. And Lisa can hit the brakes.
Mm-hmm. I will do that. And I think we'll all jump out of the car and kid tie him up. So
what do you imagine kids have that they would use here? What would be the kid tie-up material?
I mean, we established I have lots of dental floss.
That will work, though, in sufficient volumes. Just like you just wrap it around a whole bunch.
I imagine dental floss and electrical tape and that kind of thing, kind of wrapping him to.
I imagine I think the dental floss is great, and somebody else volunteers the electrical tape.
To both. It's extremely painful.
And you will get him tied up. You can make your way down to this.
Wait, I have an addition. JP is going to pants him. He's going to make it so his butt's hanging out, and he's going to laugh because he thinks that's funny.
Absolutely. You can do that.
I think I draw a smiley face on his butt cheek with a Sharpie or something like that.
So while he is pantsing and butt cheeking the janitor, the other three of you will kind of move forward to the end. You'll find what looks like maybe it used to be like one of the maglev boats that like it's like a big, maybe it was originally used to kind of cruise out onto the lake, but it's busted down and it's kind of sitting there in the water, kind of half in, half out, and you can see that it's been converted into a makeshift lab. And you will find Officer Richards there, tied up, frog burned, and unconscious. Like she clearly got attacked by the frogs. And you have the sense that the janitor was trying to figure out how to get rid of her. Like hadn't quite brought himself to go that next step, but definitely had nefarious plans for Officer Richards.
I don't suppose Butch would have with himself the thing you are using to wake up unconscious person, but maybe in his lab he has a first aid kit, and that's I think I'm not sure how do you call this in English. It's a chemical that you
smelling salts is what they call it.
Oh yeah, so I suppose I would just go to the first aid kit, take some smelling salt, and just try to wake her up. Officer Richards, Richards, are you okay?
It is a thing that kind of break under their nose, and it smells terrible. And she goes, "Oh God!" She'll come to, and she wakes up and she kind of pats for her gun and she's like, what are you kids doing here?
We are.
You gotta be careful. There's a crazy guy here.
Oh, we got him on the way. We just need you to officially, arrest him and everything else.
And she looks kind of stunned, and she'll walk out with you kids. She's kind of looking at you, JJ.
Yeah, there were frog mutants and like little other frog mutants, and there was a big robot, and Lisa drove a car, and like JJ and Butch, they like beat up the robot, and then Lisa hit the kid, and we found the control box, and we came up here, and there was the janitor. He had his gun out, and he was shooting at us. He was shooting right at us, like he shot the car multiple. Like, look at the car, it's all beat up. And then Lisa like drove like a stunt driver, like the A-Team or something, and then like the door came out, and he went flying back. We were like, yeah, take that, janitor. And then we came up here, and we found you, and we rescued you, and then we were like in the paper, and everybody gave us a key to the city, and they were like, yeah, you're the heroes of every. I mean, that's definitely what's going to happen.
She's kind of stopped towards the very end of that. She stopped listening, and she's you drove the van, Lisa?
I just 3-pointed it.
Like a stunt driver.
And she'll kind of come up, and she'll see JP with that, essentially that Sharpie.
JP is at this point sitting on top of the janitor, and he's chugging a Jolt Cola, like as if he was in a commercial, like ah.
And she'll look at the bare-butted janitor, and I think the scene ends on her like sighing at that point. So I think you have solved the mystery.
Yes, we have.
Yay!
You have solved the trouble there. So I think we can move to like an epilogue scenes. Like, does that seem cool with you?
That's perfect.
So let's start with Butch. Butch, what's our epilogue scene? Either in the immediate aftermath or down the road a little ways. What do we see on screen for that?
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe we see like Butch like asking what was her name, Officer
Richards?
I lost it. Yeah, Officer Richards, to like not put Rick anything problems into like official files, and maybe like ask her to like get him like a counseling, and then maybe like 2 weeks later when the school starts, we would see like Butch forcibly brings his brother to this counselor so that they can have a talk, and he like cares about his brother in a way that he will force him to like talk it out with the counselor, and then just maybe so I think that would be like this big scene, and then maybe like after this we'll see like a shot of the first match, and of first match of the basketball in the season, and the viewers will realize that the things they were saying, like as Jan was describing, were like he did like a one home run, and then he hit like a one ball like really strong, and it went all over all over the field. So like the little bits and pieces we have seen during the episode, we see like in the last part of in like first match of the season.
Nice, and I like that. Gives us a transition from you saying it to Jan. What do we see from JP's?
I think JP is like trying to get Lisa to be his girlfriend, and I think he's probably failing miserably. I think probably like the way that he does this is like he probably just sees a shot of him with like holding some like very poorly wrapped present, and we don't know what it is or something like that has and like a note in his hand, and then I think it like he's like resolved or something like that, and he's just like okay, and then he like dings the doorbell, and then we get a shot of Lisa inside the house being like who's there or like whatever, and then goes to the front door, and then we get a shot of the front of the house again, and I just lose my nerve They just run away, yeah. And I'm like, and then like the present is left behind, and then maybe we get a shot of her picking it up and being like, "Who's this from?" And then like that's the end of the scene.
All right. No, I like that very much. That's a nice touch and gets us to move over to Lisa. What's the epilogue for Lisa?
I think that it pretty much picks up right from the thing with the present. It takes it back, sort of looking at it. It has a name on it. It's unwrapping it. It goes back up into her room.
Lisa, your sound is kind of crazy. I can't quite hear you.
Yeah.
Is it pretty bad or is it better now?
There we go. A little bit better.
Okay. Ooh, I don't know what to say. So I think it picks up from right after the present, and she's sort of walking upstairs and looking at it, and so she opens it up and she sets it down and looks at it. It's like I'm thinking like a piece of jewelry, like a locket with a heart, but like you haven't put anything on it, so she doesn't know what it is, and so she goes and she picks up her guitar that she's been practicing on. And she sits down, kind of flops back on her bed, and she's practicing. And there's kind of like, you pan around the bedroom, and you can see that she's got a notebook, and she's like clearly been writing songs. And one of them is called "Songs from the Loop." And then there's another one that's called "Nerds."
Hey, the locket totally has a picture of MacGyver in it.
I think you gave yourself away, JP.
Awesome. And
on the nerd page. So there you go.
JJ, Patrick, take us out. You get last word here in epilogues.
So I think this has been now like 3 or 4 days in a row that Butch had come home like covered in mud and just carelessly tracked stuff through the house, to the point where like his dad has taken his mom away to a bed and breakfast for the weekend. Like Butch got in serious trouble. All the kids in this house are just falling apart, and so like he's got to clean the entire house from top to bottom before they get back, or he's not going to be on the baseball team or whatever. So I think we see Butch sort of like desultorily at the back door, like slowly scrubbing a couple tiles, until Josh shows up with Tiny, and he's like, "We're gonna go out for more adventures today," and it's the whole thing of like, "No, I'm in trouble and I have to clean this whole house. It's awful." And so like JJ will hang around, and he'll eventually like grab a brush and he'll start like scrubbing with him, and they get to chatting, and I think like they find a boombox and they turn on some music, and you just get sort of a pulling out shot of the two of them with Tiny like dancing around in circles around them, like laughing and talking and scrubbing the house down.
Nice. I like that. A nice bonding moment and a great scene to end on as we pull away. We pull away out from we see the shot, we come out to the pool, we come out to the shed, we see that long shot of them, and it probably pulls back until we see a bullfrog sitting there watching the house.
Exactly what I thought.
So we cut to black on that.
Or something like that. And then
Thank you guys very much for being willing to try this out. It is, I love having the space, because I've run this mostly as one shots. I love having the space to do more of the character moments. I think that this game does shine when you can do those home moments, when you can kind of throw those in and bring those together. So much appreciated. Jan, it was nice to play with you for the first time.
I had a blast, guys. It was amazing. I had so much fun.
Yeah, JP was hilarious.
Yes. And Pablo, thank you for playing, and thank you for being willing to roll with all the Americanisms that we were throwing at you there.
Yeah, it was interesting to see how the Americans view their school time. Yeah, I had a very cool time. It was good adventure. The home moments were really like showing the other side of the character, so it was very nice.
Yeah, I like the home stuff. And yeah, it works for me. So thank you all very much. I am going to stop the broadcast, and I will be done.